online you can't see it, but here is a line of Tibetan teachers, and Tsongkhapa is sitting here. Very small, but he's there. Yeah. I won't say any more about that today, because I gave quite a life story last week. But he lived in 14th century, so around 1400, in Tibet. And he was a big reformer. He actually established lots of monasteries, especially around Lhasa, 3 big ones. Yeah, he was quite a reformer. He really brought Buddhism, or Buddhist practice, back to ethics, meditation, and really reflecting deeply on wisdom. Yeah, so he really, reformed it in that way, and he was very, very influential. So in a way, it's the 14th century, that's like almost 2,000 years after the Buddha was alive. So yeah, it's lovely, isn't it, that we have, and like now, we are still practicing in that lineage from the Buddha, the historical Buddha, who lived 500 years before Christian era. So there we go. And Tsongkhapa wrote these beautiful verses on, he's written a lot actually, but he wrote these beautiful verses on training the mind. Training the mind, that is what Buddhism is about, really. Changing our views. And there's mind training verses are around a lot, especially in Tibet. There's beautiful verses around that. And Tsongkhapa said, I reflected on it on a long solitary this year, and I just really loved them. And they basically really bring about how important it is to become really aware of anything that is not helpful in your mind. And how, I'm going to say a bit more after the tea break, but that focusing on what is really positive, what is really, what is it, what you appreciate, what is beautiful, what is joyful, is what is good, and what you do good, what others do good, appreciation. It's so important because it kind of opens our heart to actually then being able to, with that open mind and that kind of, you could call it resilience of positivity, you can really see what's difficult as well, and look at the views and the tendencies and the habits that you have, that we all have, that are not helpful, to actually really look at them as well as, and change it from there. So important. So we're going to do metta bhavana, with bringing in mind, especially in that, well, actually all the stages, but especially in that first stage with self-metta, everything that you appreciate about yourself. It can be really difficult for us, but if it is difficult, just then bring somebody, a good friend to mind, who, what would they say about you? Yeah, what would they say about you? And just kind of look at that, what you do well, Or you could also bring to mind what brings you joy. On the Sangha retreat, he focused on that a bit, looking at what brings us joy. We did this writing exercise, and it's a beautiful thing to do. So even in that first stage of the metta bhavana, that's what you can do, to open up, to bring your mind to what is the opening up to beauty, opening up to appreciation, opening up to, making that connection with what is joyful. And again, it's not about pushing anything away that you don't want. It's not about that. It's like training your mind to be able to see more. Because when we are a bit negative, when we're down, when we are judging, when we let our kind of unhelpful stuff, roll away, take its toll on us, it's like we become narrow-minded, we close down. So it's so important, this positivity in that sense. It doesn't have to be bubbly. It's not about being bubbly. It's just about being open. There you go. Okay, so that's what metta really is about. And it might be that there's a really nice memory that you want to bring to mind when you felt really joyful and open. Bring that to mind and then feel the effect, and then, bring it to more self-metta. And from there to the other stages of the metta bhavana. So in the other stages of the metta bhavana, you can also just bring in again that mind of, bring to mind what you appreciate about the other people, even the difficult person. There will be possibly something that you appreciate about them. Yeah. So see what happens. Okay. And I'll start again with this poem by Tsongkhapa that I read last week. This is a beautiful poem that he wrote about appreciating our body, our birth now. Yeah. Now's the time. So make yourself comfortable. And just being here, like taking in the space. You could even do that with your eyes open for a bit, just like look around and take in the space we're in. You can do that actually, just look around a bit. There's people, there's the shrine, there's candles, there's flowers, there's light. That can be a really good thing to do before you start to meditate, to kind of and see what you appreciate, what catches your eye, what is beautiful. So in a way, we're training our mind to be sensitive to that what brings us joy, what is appreciative, what brings us gratitude, what is beautiful. And here we are sitting in this lovely space. With people who are doing the same as you do now. And taking time to allow your body and your mind to be grounded. Connecting with the floor underneath your seat. Allowing the weight of your body to really be carried, be taken by your seat and the floor, the earth. We don't need much to sit upright. So letting go of holding on too tightly. And with the out breath, just letting go of restlessness, tension, letting it flow into the earth. Just aware of how your body is. There's probably areas that feel a bit tighter than others. Maybe there's a bit of pain or a lot of pain. And some areas might feel softer, comfortable, light. So how's your face, your head? Your neck long and relaxed. Your throat open, soft. Feeling the movement of breathing in your chest, in your belly, perhaps in the sides and the back of your body. Where do you feel energy? Perhaps in your hands and fingers, in your belly, in your feet. Just allowing your awareness to be there. This human body, at peace with itself, is more precious than the rarest gem. Cherish your body. It is yours one time only. The human form is one with difficulty. It is easy to lose. All worldly things are brief, like lightning in the sky. This life you must know as a tiny splash of a raindrop, a thing of beauty that disappears even as it comes into being. Therefore, set your goal. Make use of every day and night to achieve it. So this human body, at peace with itself, is more precious than the rarest gem. Cherish your body. So metta for yourself is bringing to mind what others appreciate about you, what you appreciate about yourself. Bringing to mind what brings you joy. just a minute or so, just aware of how you are now. How's the energy in your body? How's your heart? And then very slowly, just coming out of this meditation. But of course, if you want to sit on, please do. But take your time. Just allow your body to make movements that it wants to do. Take in the sounds. Just gradually coming out of that meditation. So there's a tea break downstairs. But if you want to sit quietly up here, please feel free to do so. And we'll be back by 22 for the people online.
At home? Yeah, online. Online. They are at home. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Good. Okay, so a few announcements. We've actually got quite a lot of things coming up, so we've had to restrict it, but there's still 4 announcements.
Of mind training that Tsongkhapa wrote. I'll read them out, not all in one go. So I'll start with the first 10. And they're really about the importance of becoming aware of the negative tendencies in our mind. Yeah. And saying, you know, there isn't such a thing as a small thing. Yeah. That goes for positive as well. So it's really little things. Think, oh, it doesn't matter, but it does matter. So can bring it into awareness. And when we bring awareness to something, we can actually have a sense of that we can have a choice of what we do with it. Yeah. Oh, that's what we're training ourselves to do over time. As I said, really cultivating or letting happen that what is a force for the good in us, and opening up to seeing how when we have, we all have negative tendencies, we do, and those views, carry us along, and I can get a big rant going at times, after I don't know how many years of practice. Think, oh, there she comes again. So it's something about just noticing it and kind of think, I don't have to go. I don't have to make this worse. Yeah. And every little thing that we see and kind of in that awareness, get a sense of that we can change it. Those seeds, Tsongkhapa calls it seeds of goodness. I love that, yeah? We're planting those seeds. And sometimes you think nothing's happening for ages, but it does, it will. We plant those seeds. Everything that we think, everything that we do, actually all the actions of body, speech and mind, they all have an effect. So there you go. So let's first just sit in a comfortable way. You know, if you want to sit in a meditation posture, and I'll just read the first 10 verses. And then after that, we're going to keep sitting for a little bit longer. Yeah, and I'll say. And kind of when we're listening to the Dharma, the Buddhist teachings in this way, it's like you don't have to be with every word or try and remember. It's more letting it flow through you, and there will be sentences and words that really touch you, maybe even deeply, and yeah, just be with that. So again, allowing your mind to settle, just to be here. While we listen to Tsongkhapa. With body, speech and mind fully aligned, I prostrate fervently before those rare beings who are victorious over all notions of limitation, and before their spiritual daughters and sons. May a cosmic celebration of pure poetry, perfectly expressing the most subtle teachings of these victorious sages and the inheritors of their wisdom, now burst forth like an infinite garden in perpetual spring. Gaze calmly with a clear eye of wisdom upon universal manifestation, this beginningless tapestry woven from vibrant karmic threads of conscious beings, and listen to the harmonious symphony of interdependency. Purify entirely from the slightest shadow of negativity this boundless expanse of apparent struggle and conflict, with diamond clear intention until faith everywhere, with mirror-like wisdom stabilize all chaotic minds. If shadows of negativity are not dispelled immediately, these strange insubstantial absences of light gain immense potency with every new action, until even those who understand the dangers of negation will not have enough power to choose the way of clear light. Even those who study philosophy and speak eloquently are unable to release themselves from illusory darkness. The full spectrum of struggling and aspiring humanity, from immature persons to advanced contemplatives, suffers the painful delusion of clinging to these empty shadows as they become filled with effective power by self-centered action and intention. This apparent bondage, this clinging to shadows, is constituted by reactions of pleasure and pain, obviously or subtly rooted in self-serving motivation, by those rare beings who have gone beyond, who throughout all time abide in bliss as Buddhas. The true nature of reactions and their results is clearly known to be insubstantial. But the boundless expanse of self-oriented beings, who bind themselves inexorably to selfish motivation, therefore cannot liberate or even distance themselves slightly from egocentricity. We should meditate carefully and thoroughly upon the inevitability binding nature. We should meditate carefully and thoroughly upon the inevitable binding nature of negativity, learning to discriminate sensitively and unerringly between the actions which negate the preciousness of others and actions which affirm and judiciously care for others. From this clear viewpoint, renounce all negation and strive with the total commitment of your being to become entirely affirmative of all life everywhere. The seeds of action are positive and negative intentions. Any intention consciously rooted in selfless motivation, desiring only sheer goodness for all conscious life, will establish the stable ground of goodness and will universally generate rich results of goodness. Any intention even slightly weakened by selfish motivation undermines both the ground of our life and its fruits. Intention is the sole creative force of existence. To cling to the intention of triumphing over another, the desire to prosper at the expense of any being, or to indulge in the slightest bias against any being because of personal feelings of attraction or repulsion. These alone are the causes for whatever suffering exists in personal lives and in the universe as a whole. We should meditate ceaselessly on this revolutionary truth, remaining conscious of it during every moment of existence. Those who attempt to deceive with words of advice that in any way exalt selfishness and appreciate selflessness become helplessly lost in narrow-mindedness, obsessed with their own selfish interests. Such persons create the only error in the universe, diverting our precious care and concern for others to ourselves. This deception not only expresses hatred for Buddha's wisdom, but is the absurd attempt to destroy universal Buddha nature. To avoid decisively this disastrous way of hatred, bring to birth within your stream of awareness the maternal mind of totally positive intentions towards all beings as toward cherished children. This mind of kindness, supremely skillful in loving care, unveils the infinite value of every single life, demonstrating compassion as the meaning of existence. But the clumsy negative mind, operating blindly without concern for the preciousness of others, drains the nectar of meaning from human life. Cultivate diligently the selfless love that transforms every thought and action into tangible help for conscious beings. So now we just sit for a short while. Strong Words by Tsongkhapa. And just bring to mind somebody who you appreciate. And just bring to mind what you appreciate about them. So just rejoice for a while in this person. And now I'm just going to ask you to pair up with one person. And each, for a few minutes, just talk about what you appreciated about, what came to mind when you thought about appreciation for this person that you brought to mind. Yeah, so think about somebody to share your appreciation. Yeah. So it won't be very long. Yeah. So yeah, find somebody to pair with. And Kshantika, it is to say we'll back about 5 past.
Yeah, no, very happy.
So one at a time, maybe just, and the other one just, yeah? Listen for a bit. Yeah, and I'll tell you when to swap over. It's just a few minutes. So if you haven't had a chance to talk, then switch over or carry on with what you were doing for a bit longer. So rounding off. Sorry to interrupt the flow of rejoicing. How does that feel?
Lovely.
Yeah. Is it? And why is that?
I felt very moved when Rio talked about his platform and just how lovely their connection
Yeah.
is and how they really get each other. It's very heartwarming. Lovely.
We did a bit of that on the retreat as well, isn't it? It's something, it just brings that, it's open, isn't it? And I do really, well, like Tsongkhapa says, and the Buddha, I do more and more believe that so strongly, or how important the power of rejoicing, of opening up to beauty, opening up to what you appreciate, how important that is. It does create a kind of resilience. And there's a lot of pain, isn't it, in the world? There's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of horrible stuff happening, but somehow it's not negating that, it's not turning away, it's more really also noticing that we become bigger when we allow that to be there as well. We can actually be much more helpful to ourselves and the world. I believe that more and more, actually. So there. Don't know whether the people online are back. Are they back? Yeah, good. So we're going to listen to more of the verses. So those first verses that I've been reading were very much what Tsongkhapa talks about the intention, how important it is to notice those negative tendencies in our minds and to have that intention of being really aware and having that motivation and intention to turn it around. Yeah. And the next verses are very much about this mind of goodness, again, how important it is to open up to that. And it really counteracts all our selfish tendencies. This doesn't mean that we don't look after ourselves, yeah? Remember that poem that you can all take home with you, that I've just given you, we are precious. It's not about that, it's not about being selfless, yeah, in way of we don't exist, we are very precious as well. Self-metta, yes, the first stage of the metta bhavana, that's the teaching. And from there, we practice to be less selfish as well. Yeah. Anyway, let's listen to him, what Tsongkhapa's got to say. They're very small letters, hard to read. And I feel very Dutch. So there we go. But I'll do my best. So again, just get into, whatever posture you can listen to best, kind of meditative kind of way of listening. And let the verses, the words, just flow over you. So this will last for about another quarter of an hour, maybe 20 minutes. So sit in meditation if you can. So here are more words of wisdom from Tsongkhapa. The method taught by awakened sages to develop this skillful mind of kindness is to cut the root of all selfish projections by repeatedly and intensively studying perfect wisdom, meditating single-pointedly on its essence in a state of contemplative stillness and stability. With the clarity and honesty of such concentration, projected worlds of self-serving desire will melt in the sunlight of meditation, like structures of ice, revealing the magnificent secret of our existence, its total significance and absolute justification, which is active compassion for all conscious life. Such meditative practice brings to light the mind which envisions only the well-being of others, which is constantly grateful to all beloved beings for the immeasurable kindness they have poured forth through the beginningless time as mothers, fathers, children, friends, benefactors, and teachers. This mind of goodness knows only the ceaseless longing to benefit all these blessed beings without exception, in whatever manner and on whatever level imaginable. To remember vividly during every moment the kindness that has been expressed by all beings, and to cultivate an intense and constant longing to return even a small portion of this kindness, unveils the true significance of life in all worlds. The person who fails to respond wholeheartedly to this call for universal kindness and concern is on a lower plane of development than animals who are capable of experiencing immense gratitude. Those who unhesitantly embrace and tenderly serve all suffering creatures during this degenerative age, just as a loving mother painstakingly cares for even the most wayward of her children. They alone are the teachers of the holy life who authentically walk the Buddha way. The mind that faithfully and tirelessly serves and elevates conscious beings in sheer goodness, constantly giving the gift of itself, its faith in ever-expanding goodness to all other minds, thereby benefiting them in a most direct way. Of all possible forms of benefit on any level, the highest is to teach this practice of love, this indomitable faith in universal goodness, by the direct transmission of selfless awareness flowing transparently from mind to mind in accordance with the need and capacity of each mind. This is true teaching, tangibly transmitting the living energy of universal goodness, which becomes perpetually active in the recipient, even during the most pressing times of crisis, never evaporating into mere words or concepts. During this blissful practice, continually cultivating the wonderful, ever-expanding mind of goodness, even the slightest lack of sympathetic joy disappears and awareness becomes more concentrated and selfless, while the selfish emotions and conceptual projections which compose this narrow conventional world are gradually effaced, and we are completely liberated. The brilliant sun of great compassion shines unobstructed. The spirit of wholehearted love in every thought and action constitutes the spontaneous radiating sunlight, effortlessly melting the midst of self-centeredness, vastly strengthening our constant efforts for all beings. Beings benefit each other, consciously or unconsciously. Even enemies become profound benefactors in subtle ways. Those who clearly perceive this radical principle find no isolated object for hostile thought. They can discover and encounter only friends, benefactors, and inseparable related beings. This insight avoids aggressive thinking and allows the mind to expand endlessly into wholesomeness, generosity, and sympathy. Never offering the slightest encouragement to hostility, never hesitating to embrace the concerns of others. Pay complete attention to every altruistic impulse that arises in the stream of pure awareness. Contemplate the teaching of selfless compassion, calming and clarifying the turbulent flood of egocentric mind, which is sweetest meditation. Renounce the meaninglessness of selfish life. Become devoted to the true meaning of existence, the spontaneous, active compassion for all living beings. If one does not refute self-centered motivation, the subtle tendencies of the mind can never be free from the gross or subtle disposition to negation. Transform the intense activity of daily life into the harmonious expression and teaching of truth by affectionately reminding and being reminded that the bitter dark fruits of negating others are poisonous, to be most carefully avoided, whilst the sweet bright fruits of affirming others are life-giving, to be thoroughly enjoyed. Authentic delight exists only in serving others, and suffering springs only from harming others or insensitively ignoring the needs of living beings, all of whom are as intimately related to us as our own precious mother and father. So sensitive an ecology is the interdependence of all that the slightest attention and assistance to others creates moral elevation for ourselves and humanity, while the slightest indifference or neglect toward others creates moral harm for ourselves and our civilization. The faintest spark of ill will toward other beings can burst forth into a terrible forest of fire, consuming vast expanses of sympathetic joy. Even the faintest negative reaction or malicious wish opens wide channels throughout our entire being for life-destroying poisons of negation and life-obscuring shadows of self-cherishing. Cast far away from all precious humanity these lethal doses, those ominous shadows, by cultivating instinctive admiration and love for those who practice the way of selflessness. Adore such bodhisattvas for their irreversible vow to remain intimate with the struggle of living beings as beacons of love and as the light of panoramic vision. Once identified with this luminous way of life, you will experience every moment as soaked in bliss, tasting the delight of compassionate responses to even the most negative actions of other beings. I have composed this poem of rapturous affection further to strengthen the diamond-sharp conviction of those already faithful to the path of wisdom. Gazing back over these exuberant verses, I perceive an abundant banquet of poetry, easy to assimilate and to understand clearly, entirely in accord with the teachings of the sutras, and with a deep realization of awakened sages. These words are full of subtle nourishment. To contemplate their various levels of meaning is not only to taste the nectar of wisdom, but is to walk the sublime path of compassion. This surprising poem condenses into a few verses of profound and extensive teaching of my lineage. I have composed these melodic lines like heavenly wish-fulfilling gems to benefit the minds of all beloved beings. Those with strong capacity for meditation in action will deepen their insight into the nature of reality by following these words into the heart of Buddha. Some authors tie complex knots of philosophical terms, while others rave incoherently like mad persons. In the most beautiful hermitage, the snow mountains of Tibet, this poem, known as ever-expanding mind of goodness, has attempted to write with richness and lucidity. May the bliss of the mystical fusion of transcendent wisdom with tender compassion fall like sweet summer rain from dark blue clouds. The motivation of goodness, skillfully and gracefully opened by lightning flashes of self-awareness. May conscious beings in every realm and condition enjoy their glorious existence as the dynamic play of Lord Buddha's 4 modes of manifestation: transparent, universal, heavenly, and earthly. Having become, through the medium of this poem, the powerful and eloquent speech of the divine Manjushri, speaking directly with the harmonious and melodious voice of the transcendent wisdom deity, may I and all my relations and companions, from small insects to 10th level bodhisattvas, attain the blessings of primordial Buddha nature, infinite bliss, infinite fulfillment, infinite perfection, and universal conscious enlightenment. So Tsongkhapa always brought to mind the Bodhisattva Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom. So let's finish with chanting the mantra of Manjushri. Om Arapachanati. 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 Om Arapajnadi. Om Arapajnadi. Om Arapajnadi. Om Harapajnadi. 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 So, how was that, listening to those verses? How was that? There's a lot of words, isn't there? But there's some beautiful words in there, isn't there? Yeah. I decided to read it all, you know. And you could spend weeks studying this, isn't it? Might do a day on it sometimes, on a few of the verses, a day retreat or so, which would be really nice. Yeah. But here is Tsongkhapa, you know, like the Buddha saying, do practice metta, do practice, you know, expressing what you appreciate about people, you know. I mean, that's the homework. When we think, we often think it, but we don't always say it. Yeah, and it's so good to do. Yeah, it's good for yourself. It opens you up and the other person. So the power of appreciation, the power of metta, as a force in a way for, yeah, that mind of goodness. I love that phrase, mind of goodness. It's good, isn't it? That we again open up, so that being else also then really be able to be with suffering, of our own suffering, other people's suffering, in a much more kind way, in a way, in a much more effective way, I would say. Okay, so go well, everyone, at home as well. So on home, online. And next week, it's the evening with Nagabodhi. Is that right? Because today, I think it is, isn't it? So Nagabodhi will be talking about a book that he's written about Sangharakshita. And he's a great speaker. He's a great speaker. It's called The Boy, the Monk, the Man. And he's a very long-standing order member. Actually, I'll write a little rejoicing for him because I'm not here. I'm in Holland. But Nagabodhi was actually he led my very first meditation, my very first retreat. So I want to introduce him a bit for somebody to read out. Yeah.
He won't be here in person, but he'll be online. So
Yeah.
we'll have that set up.
Yeah. Yeah, so he will be, because, it's quite far to travel for him. But he's very worthwhile listening to. He's a great speaker. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.